Beloved, let us agree at the outset. We are not gathered to study a doctrine, to refine a set of phrases, or to master a subject. We are here to acknowledge a living presence. The Holy Spirit is not a topic. He is companionship, one who walks with you, speaks within you, and abides as comforter, guide, and quiet joy. And I will pray the Father, said the Master, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. John 14, 16, 17. If he abides, then friendship is not a seminar, but a life shared. Father, this is thy message, not mine. These are thy people, not mine. Our desire is not to hear a man explain God, but to experience God explaining himself within us. If there be any word of value in this hour, let it be thy word, and if there be any silence of healing, let it be thy silence. We consent now that thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Without thee we can do nothing. With thee ordinary minutes become holy ground. Now I must touch a gentle controversy, not to scold, but to free. Religion, at its best, has handed us shining words. At its worst, it has trained us to talk about the fire while sitting in the cold. It can turn living communion into correct speech and friendship into a system. We learn to speak of spirit in well-ordered sentences and forget to look up and whisper, "Art thou here?" And yet the scripture is plain. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46-10. Knowledge in that verse is not information, it is presence recognition. It is not an exam, it is an embrace. So let our posture be this. We come as friends learning friendship. We come to live with a comforter, not to manage him. We come to be addressed, not merely impressed. If the Holy Spirit be a person to befriend rather than a doctrine to defend, then our work is simple and sweet. Friendship has habits. It listens. It trusts. It gives thanks. It obeys in little things. It enjoys quiet companionship for its own sake. These will be our aims in this series, not pressure, not performance, but practice. A friend does not perform conversation. A friend shares life. Lo, I am with you always. Matthew 28-20 is not a test for memory, but a table set for two. Do not be afraid of how small a beginning may appear. A friendship begins with a glance, a nod, a shared silence. So too with the Spirit. A moment's inward turning, a whispered Father, a breath that says, "Here am I," and the atmosphere changes. Believe it or not, 10 seconds of honest acknowledgement is worth more than 10 pages of perfect theology. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, Isaiah 26-3. Stayed, not strained. Stayed, not staged. We are not here to make something happen. We are here to let God be God in us. Let us set our expectation rightly. I shall point to practices, yes, but I cannot give you the Spirit, and you cannot get him as if he were an object to acquire. He is already the unseen companion. Our task is to notice, to consent, to align. As we go forward, we shall train the heart to pause, the ear to receive promise, the will to obey without fear, the mouth to give thanks, and the hands to let love and truth flow out. Not to become religious experts, but to become simple friends of the indwelling presence. And if at any time you feel unworthy or unsure, remember the Master's word. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, John 14:10. Then let the heart answer quietly and often, thy grace is my sufficiency. Let us then begin at the small door. A friendship always begins with a pause, a turning of the face, a noticing, a willingness to be addressed. In our way, that pause is our little liturgy of consent. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds. Yet those 10 seconds honestly offered shift the whole day from self-direction to God direction. Without such a pause, it is as if we were going to do something of ourselves. And the Master has told us plainly, the Son can do nothing of himself, John 5:19. And again, without me, ye can do nothing, John 15:5. So the pause is not piety added to activity, it is the doorway out of self-management into companionship. This is the simple liturgy for the pause. Whisper it, or let it rise silently as breath. Father, this is thy day. Go thou before me. Prepare the way before my face. I make no move without thee. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Do you feel the shift? We have not asked for a plan. We have acknowledged a presence. We have not demanded outcomes. We have consented to be led. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths, Proverbs 3-6. Acknowledgement is the key. Direction follows it as a river follows gravity. Now, let us practice together for a moment. Close the outer activity for 10 seconds. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Father, this is thy hour within thy day. Go thou before me. I make no move without thee. Thy grace is my sufficiency. That is all. No straining, no trying to see visions, just a consent uttered in a sentence and sealed in a breath. Believe it or not, you have shifted jurisdiction. You have placed the government upon his shoulder, Isaiah 9-6. You have moved from the noise of how shall I into the quiet of thou wilt. Why does this matter so? Because friendship with the Spirit is not maintained by chatter but by attention. Religion trains the lips, friendship trains the ear. And the ear awakes in silence. Without the pause, our best words run ahead of our best wisdom. We answer emails, we attend meetings, we start projects, and afterward we ask God to bless what we have already launched. With the pause, we step back and say, Father, this is thy matter. Go thou before me. Then, if it is to be done, it is done with us, not by us alone. If it is not to be done, there is no scolding, only the gentle restraint of one who sees the end from the beginning. Be realistic and be faithful. Set 2 or 3 such periods through your day, morning, midday, evening, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if grace permits. No heroics are needed. These are not performances, they are appointments of friendship. And then, within the flow of ordinary life, cultivate the instant pause. Before the telephone call, pause. Before the message you are eager to send, pause. Before the meeting where you feel small, pause. Before you sign, before you buy, before you reply 10 seconds, Father, go thou before me. I make no move without thee. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee, Isaiah 26:3. Stayed means touched and retouched, returned to and kept. Peace is the fruit of these returns. Do not be afraid of forgetting. Do not scold yourself if you remember after you have already spoken. Turn then. Obey then. Correction is as holy as prevention. His compassions fail not, they are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. If you paused once today, you are already demonstrating friendship. If you paused and then blundered, pause again and let the friend within set it right. None of our mistakes are fatal to grace. They are only reminders to listen again. Make no move, at least make no important move without that inner nod. When you do not perceive it, be still. When you perceive it, proceed without fear. This is not superstition. It is companionship. It is the small door into a great fellowship. And the wonder is this. Those 10 seconds become 2 minutes. those 2 minutes become a life. For once the soul has tasted the ease of the Father within me doeth the works, John 14:10. It cannot long endure the strain of living otherwise. So begin, beloved, with a pause. It is the simplest kindness you can show your own heart, and it is the clearest welcome you can give to the holy guest who abides within. Religion trains the lips. Friendship trains the ear. We have learned to pause. Now we must learn to hear. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, John 10:27. Take notice that the Master did not say, my sheep speak many words, but hear my voice. Vain repetition is of no value. Phrases multiplied without inward listening become a clatter of cymbals. But when a promise is accepted within, when a word is received as a living assurance, it ceases to be syllables and becomes substance. It quietly announces, fear not, I am with thee, Isaiah 41:10, and something in the chest yields, it is enough. Do not imagine that hearing God must be an audition of sentences spoken in the sky. Hearing, for most of us, is a tender pressure of rightness, a gentle restraint from haste, a leaning of the heart in one direction and not another. And after the fire, a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12, still and small, not dramatic, not breathless, not demanding a stage. The friendship way is not to chase voices. It is to become so inwardly quiet that the smallest nudge is felt, the faintest check is honored, the slightest yes is enough. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, Isaiah 30:15. Quietness first, confidence following it like a faithful shadow. How shall you know you are truly listening? By the first fruit it brings. True listening does not excite the nerves. It settles them. It sobers the mind, and it ends the self-urge to manipulate outcomes. It is not the rush of, I will make this work, but the relief of, the Father within me doeth the works, John 14:10. When the ear opens, the theater of the mind closes its curtains. You will discover that the question marks of fear resolve not into elaborate plans, but into a clear atmosphere. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule, be the umpire, the governor, the decider. If peace rules, proceed. If peace withdraws, wait. Now, a practical cue for the hour of pressure. When anxious, do not add more religious effort. Do not multiply slogans in a louder voice. Pause. Turn within and ask, Father, what wouldst thou have me do? Then be still for 10 seconds or a minute as grace allows. Watch for the inner nod or the gentle no. Often you will not receive a paragraph. You will receive a settling. You may notice your hand loosening from the project you were white-knuckling. You may feel a constraint. Not now, or an ease. Make the call. The answer is not always a new thing to do. Many times it is the old thing delivered from your fear. Be careful for nothing. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6-7. The peace is the keeper. The peace is the guide. And if you say, but I hear nothing, be at rest. You are not failing. You are being trained. Keep the question before the Father and refuse to answer it by human cleverness. The temptation will be to grab the wheel, to manufacture an outcome, to prove you can do something of yourself. Gently decline, whisper, without thee I can do nothing, John 15:5, and wait. Believe it or not, 10 honest seconds of waiting in faith accomplish more than an hour of agitated scheming. If you err, do not be afraid. Obedience is learned by obedience. Listening is learned by listening. None of our mistakes are fatal to grace. Correction is part of the curriculum. Peace will bring you back to center. Let us practice for a moment. Close the outer argument. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Father, what wouldst thou have me do about this? Name it softly within. Now wait. Do not clutch at an answer. Allow one to arise or not arise. If a simple yes seems to form with quietness, obey. If a restraint holds you like a hand on your shoulder, honor it. If nothing comes, then do the next ordinary right thing, without strain, trusting that he leadeth me beside the still waters. Psalm 23:2. And that a later pause will reveal the next step. This, beloved, is how the ear is trained, not by eloquence, but by reverence, not by pressing our requests harder, but by letting the peace of God umpire our goings. In time, you will find that the inward yes and no are as distinct as day and night, not because the voice grew louder, but because the heart grew quieter. And the reward is not merely correct decisions. The reward is companionship, felt God with us, God within us, until even our silence says, Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And we move when bidden, and we wait when stayed, with no fear in either. Now that the ear is waking, let us speak of the words that keep it open. The Bible is not given to furnish us with eloquence. It is given to furnish us with assurance. Vain repetition is of no value. Accept them as promises, and they will give you an inner confidence. Promises are not the way we impress God. They are the way God impresses himself upon our fear until fear loses its tongue. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Do you hear how that speaks? Not thou might keep him if he performs, but thou wilt keep him if his mind be stayed, touched, and retouched upon thee. Our way is simple. Take a small company of living words, especially the Master's own, printed in red if you have a red letter gospel, and let them abide in you as atmosphere. Not to get a feeling, but to acknowledge a fact. Without me, ye can do nothing. John 15:5. The Father within me doeth the works. John 14:10. My grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. Isaiah 26:3. These are not marching orders for your will, they are cushions for your heart. They level the ground under your feet until guidance becomes natural and obedience no longer frightens you. Here is a little rule for your day. In the morning, before speech gathers, open the book and choose one promise, only one. Read it slowly, aloud if you can, not to the air but to the presence. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Then close the book and sit for a minute or two, or for 10 seconds if that is all you have, until the mind yields, until the verse ceases to be words and begins to be a climate. Do not try to feel holy. Simply consent. Father, I stay my mind on thee. Keep me in thy peace. If you notice an urge to rush, lay the verse upon it as a hand upon the brow and let the hurry cool. At midday, return to a second word. The Father within me doeth the works. Read it once, twice, then be still. Say within, the works of this hour are thine. Do them as me, not by me. Wait 10 honest seconds. Guidance flows best through unclenched soul. When you rise, let that sentence do the living and you do the consenting. The result will not be a trumpet blast. It will be a quiet confidence, all out of proportion to your nerves. At night, before you cross the threshold of sleep, let the third word tuck you in. My grace is sufficient for thee. Or if your heart needs humbling and lifting at once, without me ye can do nothing. Read, then lay the day upon it. Without thee I did nothing. With thee all that was worthy was thine own doing. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Rest then, not in your performance, but in his promise. Let the mind yield. And if a review of the day begins to accuse you, place the promise between the accusation and your heart and watch the accuser fall silent. Why do we do this? Because promises received inwardly become the very air in which companionship is recognized. When the mind is stayed on a word that cannot lie, the inner yes and no cease to compete with 1,000 lesser voices. Peace takes the chair at the head of the table and rules the conversation. Guidance is no longer an emergency broadcast. It is the ordinary speech of a present friend. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule, decide, govern, arbitrate, and peace rules best where promises are believed, not brandished. Make no show of this. Do not multiply verses as if to bargain for results. One promise lived is worth a chapter recited. Read it slowly. Sit until the mind yields. Rise quietly and let it work in you and as you. In time you will discover that you have stopped trying to hold on to God and that God is holding you. The verse will have become a presence. The book will have become a voice. And the friendship will feel less like our reaching up and more like his abiding in. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. Beloved, now we come to the sentence that changes the axis of a life. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. Do you hear what that means? It is not that God comes as an assistant to our will, lending a hand when our arms are tired. It is not that we labor and he adds blessing. No. Friendship with the Spirit comes to its strength the hour we consent that we are not the doer at all, that the indwelling presence is the life, the mind, the initiative, the action. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, John 14:10. Not sometimes, always. This is the end of strain and the beginning of divine action. It is the quiet surrender of governance. The government shall be upon his shoulder, Isaiah 9:6. We cease trying to move people as if they were chessmen. We cease attempting to fix circumstances as if the world were our personal workshop. We stop urging supply as if lack were master. Instead, we consent. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. Bring what to pass? His way, his peace, his timing, his evidence that love is here. Our part is consent. His part is doing. Let us make this practical because it is the practicality that proves the friendship. Here is a simple test. If you feel tight, you are doing it. If you feel urgent, you are doing it. If you feel resentful, you are doing it. Tightness, urgency, resentment, these are the fingerprints of the little doer. In that instant, do not argue with yourself. Do not justify the tension. Pause. 10 honest seconds will do. Turn within and say, Father, not I. Live thy life as my life. Think thy thought in me. Speak thy word through me. Act thine act as me. Then be still. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. Notice the order, to will and to do. Even the willing is his gift. You may say, but what of this problem? Must I not act? Yes, you shall act, but act as one carried, not as one clutching. There is a difference you can feel. When the presence acts, the act is simple, clean, and free of inner bargaining. You write the letter, and it is shorter than you thought. You make the call, and you are not trying to win. You are bearing witness to peace. You enter the meeting, and you have no private theater of outcomes. You have a friend. Whether the circumstance bends or holds, your interior remains governed. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule be the umpire, If peace rules, proceed. If peace withdraws, wait. This surrender does not make you passive, it makes you obedient. It does not make you careless, it makes you careful for nothing. Philippians 4-6. It removes the fever from your effort and preserves the fruit. Believe it or not, when you stop trying to make things be, you begin to witness what already is in God. Supply ceases to be something chaste, it becomes something expressed. Forgiveness ceases to be a duty wrestled from the will. It becomes mercy flowing from a heart, no longer defending its own throne. You find yourself surprising yourself, gentler than you planned to be, firmer than you dared to be, wiser than you studied to be, because he that is within me is greater than any demand upon me. We will not master this in a day, and we are not asked to. We are asked to practice. Many times each day, ask quietly, who is living now? If you find the answer is, I am, return to the pause and lay down the tools. Whisper, not I, Christ in me. Then take the next step with no push inside. If you catch yourself picking it back up, lay it down again. Correction is holy. Each surrender inks the friendship deeper upon your nerves until in quietness and in confidence becomes not a lesson but your natural gait. Isaiah 30-15. And so we agree, we are not the doers, we are the consenters, the yielders, the instruments. The presence is the life and the activity. Let this be your inner sentence as you rise and as you work and as you rest. Not I, but Christ liveth my life. Then watch the day recompose itself around a new center without strain, without show, with the quiet authority of him who said, Abide in me, for without me ye can do nothing. John 15:4-5. Beloved, once we have consented that the presence do the living, the next word that arises almost immediately is a quiet imperative, do this, and its twin, do not do that. Obedience is the language of friendship, not obedience driven by dread of punishment, but obedience born of trust that the one who indwells us is good and doeth good. Psalm 119-68. Fear is the only real interruption. Perfect love casteth out fear. 1 John 4:18. Where fear shouts, friendship falls silent. Where love is trusted, the smallest whisper guides. Do not make a drama of this. For most of us, guidance is not a trumpet from the mountain. It is an inward leaning, a settled yes, a gentle check. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. Psalm 32-8. Eye guidance is delicate. A friend at your side does not yank you by the arm. He lifts his brow or turns his gaze, and you understand. Then comes the word to the wise in the next verse. Be ye not as the horse or as the mule, whose mouth must be held in with bit and bridle. Psalm 32-9. We are being trained out of bit and bridle religion into eye-guided friendship. Let us bring this down where the feet can use it. The Spirit may nudge. Make the call now. You had planned to wait until afternoon. Obedience dials now. Or he may restrain. Do not purchase today. Everything in you shouts that the sale ends at midnight. Obedience waits without bargaining. He may warm the heart with, apologize first. Your mind can compose 100 reasons why the other should come to you. Obedience crosses the room. He may counsel, be silent here. You could have won the argument. Obedience lets peace win. He may invite rest. The to-do list is accusing. Obedience lies down and finds the list somehow shorter when you rise. He may say, give. You are counting coins. Obedience opens the hand and discovers the barrel of meal does not waste. 1 Kings 17. None of this is sensational. It is the ordinary syllables of friendship spoken in the inner room. But you ask, What if I mistake my own thought for God's? Beloved, do not be afraid of mistakes and do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. Failure is only for a day. Our friend is not brittle. His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. Obedience is learned by obedience, just as listening is learned by listening. If you misstep, the same voice that gently said, "Do this," will gently say, "Now undo this," or "Now make it right." Correction is not a scolding, it is a shepherd's staff. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. John 10:27. Follow then. Even if your steps are small and sometimes sideways, keep fear out, and you will discover that even your detours become part of the training. Here is a simple vow for the road. Whisper it now, and make no show of it. Father, if thou dost give direction, I will follow. If thou dost restrain me, I will stop. Seal it again. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Do you feel how that vow turns your face? It moves you out of self-management into companionship. And remember, the umpire of all this is peace. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule decide. If the instruction comes with quietness, obey without delay. If the restraint comes with quietness, abstain without resentment. Where there is panic, wait. Where there is push, pause. The Father within will never drive you with a whip. He leads with a hand. Shall we practice for 10 honest seconds? Father, what wouldst thou have me do about this matter? Name it softly within. I consent to thy yes, I honor thy no. If thou dost give direction, I will follow. If thou dost restrain me, I will stop. Now hush. Wait a moment. Accept either a simple yes, a gentle no, or holy silence. If yes, do the next small right thing. If no, lay it down as an offering. If silence, carry on with the ordinary duty before you, without anxiety, trusting that the next pause will bring light enough for the next step. In returning in rest shall ye be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. And if today you obeyed and tomorrow you falter, be at peace. Friendship is not measured by a single hour's perfection, but by the steady choosing of trust over fear. Each time you say yes to the quiet, do this, love deepens its roots in you. Each time you honor the quiet, do not do that. Wisdom saves you 10 griefs you will never have to know. In this way, without trumpet or headline, life composes itself around the eye of God, and you find yourself walking not as a planner clutching outcomes, but as a friend moving at the pace of peace. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. Then let fear be dismissed, obedience be welcomed, and the day be governed from within by the friend whose will is your rest and whose whisper is your way. Beloved, testimony is not spectacle, it is proof. We do not rehearse a story to glorify an event, but to show how practical the inner friendship is when it meets the cobblestones of an ordinary day. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Proverbs 16:9. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. If that is so, then somewhere between our devising and his ordering, there must be a pause, a hearing, and an obedience that lets the day be rearranged by a wiser hand. Here is a pattern you will recognize in your own life soon enough. One morning, with an agenda placed like stones along the path, 2 appointments, a purchase to make, a letter to send, I paused. 10 seconds. Father, this is thy day. Go thou before me. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And into that hush came not a paragraph, but a rearrangement. Not the first appointment, the letter first. The mind protested deadlines, maps, traffic, but peace held the chair at the head of the table. So instead of starting across town, I turned to the small thing, the letter. As I sealed it, another nudge, walk it to the post, not later, now. No voice booming, only a settled rightness. I went. At the corner, the first appointment called to delay. They were running behind. The letter went into a clerk's hand who said, if this catches the early bag, it reaches by morning. Believe it or not, that little now made a difference I could not have planned. As I left the counter, the inward eye turned again. Take the other street. I did, and met a face I had not expected to see, a neighbor strained with worry. Just 2 minutes, she said. Within me, a gentle yes. We stood in the doorway, and the words given were simple. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Isaiah 41:10. The tension left her shoulders as if a weight found its hook. I had no sermon, only presence. She smiled for the first time in days, and I left with no glory of my own, only gratitude for a rearranged path. The afternoon, by this point, had been touched in 3 places I had not planned. A letter posted at the only hour that mattered, a delay that prevented my waiting in a room where I would have grown impatient, and a neighbor blessed a doorstep I would not have crossed. Then came the purchase I had been certain must be completed. The inner restraint met me at the threshold. Not today. It made no sense to the shopper in me, but peace ruled, and I obeyed. The very next morning, quiet as mercy, the same item was offered to me by a friend, freely given, the exact size and better suited than what I would have bought. Supply had flowed by a route kinder than my will could have traced. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. Do you see how undramatic this is? No earthquake, no wind, and after the fire, a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12, yet precision was its signature. The letter reached in time. The delay spared a fretful hour. The neighbor received comfort, not on my schedule, but on God's. The purchase waited and then arrived as a gift. This is what I mean when I say the Spirit is not dramatic for drama's sake. He is practical companionship. He attends to the common stairs and the crowded street, the desk and the doorstep, with an accuracy that humbles our cleverness. Now, let this be your watch in the coming days. Do not hunt miracles, attend to peace. Expect the small, exact kindnesses that only a friend could time. A call arriving the moment strength thins. A word remembered just as harshness gathers. A door not opened that would have led to sorrow. A bill paid from a source you did not calculate. A misunderstanding that never happens because silence was chosen. A chance meeting that is not chance at all. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule decide when to go, when to wait, when to turn left at the corner and discover that love has scheduled an appointment you would never have written down. Keep your testimonies quietly. Share them when prompted, not to parade outcome, but to honor guidance. Let them steady you for the next obedience. They overcame by the word of their testimony, Revelation 12:11. Not by argument, but by witness. And if today you miss one of these little timings, do not accuse yourself. Pause, consent anew, and watch how swiftly mercy mends the fabric. In this way, your life becomes a string of precise compassings until you cannot help but confess softly and with a smile, the Father within me doeth the works, and truly his way with my day is better than my way with my day. Beloved, once peace has taken the chair and the day has been gently rearranged by the inner friend, the question that rises is not, what shall I get, but what may I give? Here the Spirit teaches us the house law of the kingdom. What have you in the house? 2 Kings 4-2. Not what are you lacking, not who will remember you, but what is at hand that can flow out now? A prayer, a kind word, a clean silence, a little time, 2 drops of oil. You will discover that friendship with the Spirit ripens at the moment you cease to guard your little store and begin to let His life go through you. He that believeth on me, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, John 7:38. Flow, this is the word of friendship. Take this axiom and let it write itself on your doorpost. Nothing must come to you, everything must flow out from you. Let love flow out, let truth flow out, let forgiveness, patience, blessing flow out. You are not a cistern, you are a spring. Freely ye have received, freely give. Matthew 10-8. And the mystery is this: as it flows out, the inner storehouse enlarges. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. Proverbs 11:25. Withholding is the dimmer switch of awareness, giving is the lamp turned up. There is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. Proverbs 11:24. Not only purse poverty, soul poverty. The friend is recognized not by clutching him, but by letting him express as us. When we consent to outflow, we meet him in the flow. How then shall we practice? Begin where the foot can find the path. Bless the difficult person, yes, that one whose name tightens your chest. Without argument, whisper, Father, bless him and keep him. Make thy face shine upon him and give him peace. Numbers 6:24-26. Lay down your case and send a blessing instead. Forgive without waiting to be asked, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Matthew 6:12. Do not negotiate the terms. Let mercy move first. Speak one truthful sentence today where you had planned a polite evasion, not a spear. A truth wrapped in peace. Give one act of service that no one will see. Carry, wash, write, repair, listen, then keep silence about it. After each outflow, pause 10 honest seconds and attend within. Do you feel the inward amen, that is companionship becoming tangible? Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule, confirm, approve, seal the deed. And if your mind protests, but I have needs, who will care for me? Hear the friend's way with supply. He does not feed you by the math of fear. He multiplies by breaking and giving. Give ye them to eat, Mark 6:37. Break and divide. What have you in the house? 2 drops of oil, then pour. A small word of comfort, then give it to the one whose shoulders sag. A skill, a contact, a loaf, a smile. Do not hoard them for a bigger day. As you let them go, you will find, believe it or not, that the barrel does not empty. The barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail. 1 Kings 17:16. But mark this: the truest miracle is not that something returns to you. It is that someone is revealed in you. The giver is known in the giving. Let us make a little liturgy for this very day. Choose one hard face and bless it now. Choose one offense and forgive it now. Choose one place for truth and speak it gently now. Choose one humble service and do it now. After each, stop 10 seconds. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. The Father within me doeth the works. Then listen for the quiet inner nod. If peace holds, you have touched the hem of his garment. If unrest stirs, return and make it righter or quieter. Correction is grace. Do not wait to become rich in any currency before you give. What have you in the house? A prayer you can breathe? Breathe it. A silence you can keep? Keep it. A kindness you can spare? Spare it. A truth you can speak? Speak it. A coin you can release? Release it. Let it flow. We do not give to get. We give because God is giving himself as us. And as we do, promises cease to be ink and become life. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. Running over because rivers are not stored, they are sent. In this outflow you will find your friend close enough to breathe your breath. Then you will say with quiet certainty, I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me, and his life has found its way through my hands. Beloved, after giving there must be being. If we do not correct the productivity instinct, even our charity becomes a project and our prayer a task. The friend is not wooed by our busyness. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Not be busy and prove. Be still and know. There is a ministry that bears no report and wears no badge. It is the ministry of being with God. Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful. Mary hath chosen that good part, Luke 10:41-42. The good part was not a finished list. It was a kept company. Let us practice this now as simply as breath. Sit as you are. Let the shoulders soften, the jaw unclench. Breathe naturally, no technique, only honesty. Let thoughts pass as leaves on a brook. Do not hold them. Do not chase them. Within, say softly, Thou art here. Thy grace is my sufficiency. And again, not to make something happen, but to acknowledge what is. If another thought rises, an errand, a memory, a sentence, place the word thou between you and it, and let it drift. Sit like this for 10 honest seconds, or for a minute if grace lends it. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul, Psalm 23:2-3. What shall you look for? Not fireworks. Often it is a softening more than a signal, a sense that the inner grip has loosened, that the breath sits lower, that your edges are less sharp. Sometimes it is a clear peace. Sometimes only the absence of clamor. Sometimes it is a tender awareness that someone is the room and you are not alone. And with that awareness, a gentle clarity returns as when fog thins and a shoreline appears. This is sanity coming home. My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. Exodus 33-14. Rest is not laziness. It is God's government felt. Do not measure this by intensity. Friendship grows by consistency more than by occasional brilliance. 2 or 3 small periods a day, 10 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes, build a life steadily governed from within in these pauses. Say nothing elaborate. Keep to it a single acknowledgement. Father, thou art here. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then hush. If a verse has been your morning promise, let it hover as atmosphere. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Dwell, do not dash through. Abide, do not sample. You may find an impulse to turn even this into a program. Resist it. This is not a contest of duration, nor a hunt for rare sensations. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. Wait not, strain. Renew, not inflate. When you rise from such a pause, do not announce it. Let the fruit speak. You will find the same task approached without fever, the same conversation held without inner theater, the same crossing of a threshold done without bargaining with outcomes. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule, umpire the next step. If in the quiet old fears present their case, do not wrestle them on their terms. Place a promise like a hand upon the brow. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Stay the mind gently. Do not lash it. If nothing seems to happen, Keep the appointment anyway. Clouds do not argue with the sun. They make way. Day by day, the hush becomes familiar, and the familiarity becomes companionship, and companionship becomes guidance without strain. Carry this companionship into the ordinary, on the train, in the queue, between calls, before turning the key, while washing the cup 10 seconds. Thou art here, thy grace is my sufficiency. In this way you will discover that the Holy Spirit is known most surely in quiet companionship, not in religious busyness. And from that quiet, the day is seasoned with a tenderness you could not produce and a wisdom you did not plan. Abide in me, for without me ye can do nothing. John 15:4-5. Abide, beloved, and let the friend be the atmosphere in which all else finds its proper size and place. Beloved, if the friend is known most surely in quiet companionship, then we must jealously guard that companionship from anything that would stand between the heart and its God. Hear me softly and plainly. We have no organization. We have no memberships. You will not be asked to sign your name to a book, nor to pledge your soul to a committee. You will have your contact with God. That is the center, the circumference, and the way. They shall be all taught of God, John 6:45. This is not bravado. It is protection. The treasure is within, and no outer key may own it. Do not mistake me. This is not anti-church nor anti-scripture, God forbid. Forsake not the assembling of ourselves together, Hebrews 10:25. Search the scriptures, John 5:39. Gather when led, read much, sing, kneel, receive the bread and the cup if grace invites. But let forms be servants, never masters. Freedom is not the absence of forms. It is direct, living communion that no system can replace. The letter is a lamp when the Spirit lights it. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. 2 Corinthians 3-6. A sanctuary is holy when it shelters listening. A creed is honest when it bows to current revelation. Where form attempts to substitute for presence, lay the form gently aside and return to the inner room. The role of a teacher in such a life is simple and short. I am not your supply. I am not your permission. I am not your intermediary to God. At best, I point, and then I disappear so that you may hear within. One is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren, Matthew 23-8. If I speak, it is to say, look there within. If I give, it is to say, give on. If I correct, it is to turn your ear to the shepherd, not to tie you to my bench. He must increase, but I must decrease, John 3:30. It was the master who fed the multitudes, not the multitudes who fed the master. So it shall be with you. The Father within you doeth the works, and you will carry away your own basket of fragments from his hand, not from mine. Let us be practical and safe. If any practice, gathering, slogan, badge, or habit, yes, even one you learned here makes you feel controlled, frightened, or superior, return at once to the small door. Pause. 10 honest seconds. Father, thou art here. Cleanse the motive of this practice. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then wait. Let peace decide whether to continue, to amend, or to lay it down. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. Galatians 5:1. Liberty does not strut, it bows. It fears neither the frown of men nor the flattery of belonging. It loves fellowship, but it will not trade contact with God for a chair with a name on it. There are signs by which you will know when religion is getting in the way. When you count attendance as if it were righteousness, pause. When you quote a text to win a point rather than to open a window, pause. When you look upon another house of worship as lesser and yours as higher, pause. When you feel that by joining your club you have joined God, pause. In each pause, pray the psalmist's prayer. Search me, O God, and know my heart, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalm 139 to 23:24. Then obey whatever cleansing is shown, even if it means resigning a posture or emptying a calendar hour that gave you a name but not a life. On the other hand, there are signs by which you will know that form is serving spirit. When a hymn becomes a hush and you feel the still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12, and its echoes stay. When a sermon dissolves into a sentence that burns like a promise and goes home with you, cherish it. When bread and cup become a whisper, this is my life given for thee, receive, and be very still. When fellowship relieves loneliness without breeding dependence, give thanks. In these things, outer becomes inner, and you are safer in the pew than you ever were alone with your anxieties, because you are with God, not merely with men. And so I say again, with love and for your liberty, we have no organization, we have no memberships, we will not build a fence to pen you, for the pasture is God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Take that liberty into every sanctuary and street. Use forms when they help you listen. Release them when they begin to speak over the voice. You will not need me, for you will have your contact with God. And when you have it, you will be as free in a crowd as in a closet, as guided in a ritual as in a kitchen, for the kingdom is within you, and the friend walks there. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me, John 10:27. Follow him, and let nothing, no badge, no fear, no superiority stand where only the beloved may stand. Beloved, let us gather these threads into a simple rule, so simple that a child could keep it, so steady that a saint need not improve upon it. Friendship is not secured by one bright hour and then forgotten. It is kept by little faithfulnesses repeated until they become the way we breathe. Here is the rule: 3 pauses, 1 promise, 1 obedience, 1 act of flow out. Keep it 7 days and see if your interior weather does not change. Keep it 70 times 7, and you will find that you are no longer visiting God. You are walking with him. Morning pause, consecration, before the shoe goes on, before the list starts dictating, give God the day. 10 honest seconds is enough to open the door. 3 minutes is an altar. Father, this is thy day. I make no move of myself. The Father within me doeth the works. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Sit in that sentence until it ceases to be an idea and becomes the air. If thoughts rise, let them pass as birds beyond your window. If a verse is to be your promise, place it on your tongue here. Midday pause, recalibration. Somewhere between tasks. Stop where you are. Close the door of the mind if you cannot close the door of the room. Thou art here. Adjust me to thy peace. Let the peace of God rule in your heart, Colossians 3:15. Umpire the next hour. Decide the next tone. 10 honest seconds, and you will sense whether you have drifted into self-effort or are still moving under eye guidance. If drift has begun, return at once with a whispered, without thee I can do nothing. With thee all is ordered quietly. Evening pause, gratitude. At the day's last lamp, set a chair for remembrance. Do not count victories as your own. Name them as mercies. Father, thou hast kept me. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, 2 Samuel 22:36. Thank him for 1 protection seen, 1 timing felt, 1 word spared, 1 kindness given, and 1 received. Let thanksgiving seal the door against regret and tuck you under the shadow of the Almighty, Psalm 91:1 for rest. Now, 1 living promise each day. Choose from the Master's red letter words or from the Psalms. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. I am the vine, abide in me. John 15:5. Do not gather many, take one. Read it aloud as if it were addressed to you now. Then sit until assurance, not effort, begins to form. Vain repetition is of no value. Promises received become the atmosphere in which the friend is recognized. Carry that one sentence through the day like a lamp in your breast. Add one obedience. Each day ask quietly, Father, what small yes or small no is thy will today? Expect something ordinary. Make the call. Be silent here. Return that item. Write the note. Do not purchase. Walk instead of ride. Write it down. Not to impress heaven, but to train faithfulness on earth when completed. Mark it with a simple thank thee. If you miss it, do not accuse yourself. Write the correction and keep walking. Failure is only for a day. Mercy is for every morning. Add one, flow out. Nothing must come to you. Everything must flow out from you. Choose one act through which love may move. Bless an enemy by name. Forgive a debtor without fanfare. Give a coin or a loaf. Send a word that lifts. Keep one generous silence where sarcasm begged to be spoken. Freely ye have received, freely give. Matthew 10:8. After the outflow, pause 10 seconds. Do you feel the inward amen? That is supply being proved from within the giver, known in the giving. Make no law of this. Make friendship of it. If the day tangles, shorten the pauses, but do not drop them. If the promise seems dry, keep the appointment anyway. Clouds do not cancel the sun. They only veil it for an hour. In time, this little rule will do what only companionship can. Calm your pace, steady your ear, sweeten your speech, and render you useful without strain. Then, almost without noticing, you will hear yourself say with Paul, I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me. And with quiet certainty you will know that religion systems have not replaced communion, for the friend himself keeps company with you morning, noon, and night. Beloved, let us come to the simple center. Without thee, I can do nothing. With thee, all things are ordered and sustained. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Without me, ye can do nothing. John 15:5. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. John 14:10. This is our humility and our assurance together, not a worm's lowliness, but a son's acknowledgement of source. We have learned to pause, to hear, to obey, to let the life flow out. Now let us yield the whole field to the rightful owner. Sit quietly and with me. Make this consecration not with strain, but with truth. Father, live thy life as my life. Take me, use me, govern me. Let me not run ahead of thee, neither lag behind thee. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Psalm 141:3. In all my ways I acknowledge thee. Do thou direct my paths. Proverbs 3:6. Make my steps small where thy whisper is small, and my courage large where thy will is clear. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Do not expect an earthquake as you say it. Expect a government. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. Consent is the doorway. Governance is the house. There are no easy paths promised here, only a sure companion. It will be the degree of your devotion that clarifies the road. But mark this well. Grace makes devotion natural. What begins as a practice becomes your breathing. What is first kept by discipline is later kept by love. And when you stumble, and someday you will remember, Do not be afraid of mistakes. None of them are fatal. Failure is only for a day. Mercy is for every morning. His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. Now let us seal the word within. Father, I present my body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto thee. This is my reasonable service. Romans 12:1. I yield my mind to be stayed on thee, that thou wilt keep me in perfect peace. Isaiah 26:3. I yield my hands for thy giving, my tongue for thy blessing, my calendar for thy rearranging, my purse for thy wisdom, my nights for thy rest. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. The Father within me doeth the works. I say to you now with affection and boldness, you will not need a personality to carry you. You will have your contact with God. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. When the hour is dark, you shall yet find the inward lamp saying, this is the way, walk ye in it. Isaiah 30:21. When the opportunity glitters and would flatter you out of your peace, you shall hear, be still, and know. Psalm 46:10. When fear speaks loudly, answer softly, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. And go on. Take this as commission, not from a platform, but from the presence who indwells you. Go quietly into your day with 3 pauses, 1 promise, 1 obedience, 1 act of flow out, but go as one lived from within. Keep fellowship wherever it serves, listening. Release whatever dims the voice. Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Joshua 1-9. And now, in a final hush, let us say it one more time, not as a wish, but as covenant. Father, live thy life as my life. Rule in me, speak through me, love from me, rest me. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.